ခုထိဆရာလို့ခေါ်လို့မဲလားထားရဲ့
ဒါဖြင့်ဘလူကွာမလဲရင်ဩကိုလားမောင်လားကိုလားမောင်လားဒါဖြင့်အားလုံးစုပြီးကိုမောင်ဆရာလို့ခေါ်မလားရင်ဆရာ
ဆရာကိုမောင်လို့ခေါ်
Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I'd like to introduce you guys to the first entry of a brand new series called Reviews Nobody Asked For, aka RNF. I thought long and hard about which Burmese film I should review first. And what better film is there than the Jammo during this The Jam period. And I recall the Adelays telling me that it was such a hit back in the days when it was released. So I wanted to revisit the fond memories and see what all this hype is about. So before we get into this, I'd like to address a few things. The footage used in this video is protected under the law of fair use, which is made for purposes such as criticism, comments, teaching, etc. Also, my videos aren't monetized, and I'm not a professional film critic. Now with that out of the way, let's get right into it. Yeah, boy. So the film starts off by introducing King Kinta, who is one of the main protagonists of the story. And she is portrayed to have this very wealthy background. Then comes Nyema, our male counterpart, working class, music teacher, composer, pianist, and the founder of the legendary band in Mandalay named Myoma. Now the convenient plot dictates that the flower dropped by King Kinta is to be picked up by none other than Nyema. And that he was caught looking at her by the chick herself, and he was again caught looking at her by this other chick from the back, and again by one of his friends. Then comes one of my favorite scenes. So after hearing that speech from the artist himself, King Kinta started to respect the guy for his integrity and the love he has for his music. So she asked her mom to hire her a piano teacher so she can learn from home. But her mom said no, so she went out of her way to go to his place and learn how to sing. And of course, one thing led to another, and finally they were dating, but that didn't go unnoticed. Oh my, Shiner! So the man snitched on our boy, and the mom found out, and she was grounded. In her desperation, she sent a letter to Nyemao, telling him to pick her up so they can both run away and never look back. So on that day, she went to this rendezvous and waited for him there, and Nyemao was on the way to pick her up. Then the plot thickens. One of his colleagues' mom was in critical condition, and he just happened to come across them. Being the good guy that he is, he decided to take the mom to the hospital instead of going to his girlfriend. Now look at the time. King Kinta waited and waited, but Nyema was nowhere to be found. So the mom came to pick her up, and the other mom passed away. And good lordy, look at the time again. It is 3 in the fucking afternoon. And this is the first of the many problems that I have with the plot of this movie. I mean, he could have just sent his friend to his girlfriend so he can pick her up for him, or he could have just gone there by himself after sending the colleague's mom to the hospital. Instead, he just waited outside the operating room for 4 straight hours. I mean, really, either the writers were lazy or Nyema is written off as a character without the brain capacity to do simple problem solving. I mean, he was good, but he wasn't very bright. So of course he missed the rendezvous, and the chick got mad, and she wanted revenge. She's out for blood. And what better way is there to revenge than to humiliate him by inviting his band over to play at her wedding? And also, how long did they date? Because it looks like they just dated for a couple of months, and then what? The chick decided it is time for them to just run off and be married forever? I mean, they're grown-up people, and they're acting like a bunch of teenagers. So anyway, she decided to pull another dick move and ask him to play the song that he wrote for her so they can play at the weddings. But of course, she finally found out what really happened when she talked to one of the bandmates and asked her why the sad face. And it was at this moment that she knew she fucked up. So the damage is done, and Nyema resorted to alcohol to sort of ease the pain that he had as a result of terrible miscommunication. I mean, really, this whole thing could have been avoided if he had just sent a letter or something to explain what really happened. Anyway, he started tripping and started seeing this chick who woke him up as King Kintar, and she was making it rain. I mean, you sure it is alcohol though? Because alcohol doesn't do that to your brain. With King Kintar out of the picture, Nemo started dating this lady who was taking care of him in his rock bottom days. Cue the cheesy romantic music.
いいんですかいいんですかこんなに人を好きになっていいんですかいいんですかいいんですかこんなに人を信じてもいいんですか
So finally, Nemo got laid and got his wife pregnant, and everything was all fine and dandy. But to his dismay, his wife passed away doing the labor. And then he proceeded to smoke beside the infant over the years. Parenting 101, guys. At this point, Nemo, the founder and one of the key players of the legendary band, has fallen off so miserably, and it shows. So Nemo's friend forced him to teach his son how to play piano. Then the time skip happened, and Bingo Bongo, the only child of Nemo, named Tetue, is already in his teenage years, presumably. The year is 1985, and he's in his freshman year at college. So he went home to his dad to ask for his permission to take part in the New Year musical event. But his dad said no, so he got emotional and wrote down about it in his diary book. This book is going to play an important part in later events. So his friends came over to his place to ask whether or not he's coming, and he said he couldn't because Daddy said no. So when they left, his dad asked him who they were, and he found out they were his old flame's children. So Nemo gave Tetue the permission to go out with his friends. Then Zoan's character named Golette is introduced. This is another example of horrible writing. Look at this clip. Prior to this point, he was never mentioned or even seen interacting with any of the characters in the film. And yet the film wants us to believe that this is a pre-existing character. That's not very convincing. Then he was introduced to meet Danu's character named Manuel, and the story just got messier from this point on. Throughout the rest of the film, he is seen staring at Manuel like he wants to bone that chick. And Tetue is just looking guilty like he ripped a silent but deadly one in the elevator. So Tetue confronted his dad and told him that he couldn't fake the love he has for Manuel. Then this happened.
Oh.
Okay, hold up. You didn't tell him what the plan was. You just gave him a pass to go hang out with the kids. That's about it. So what were you trying to do with him, and what are you gonna do without him? And assuming your plan was to break the daughter's heart, how do you suppose you do that by yourself? Yeah, that was classic. So Tetue went over to his friend's place for the first time to tell him that he couldn't make it again. So basically this is just the father and the son saying no to each other. He left, King Kintar saw him, so she asked her son who that was, and then she realized it was her ex's son. After finding out that Nemo is still acting like a man-child and being sour for something that happened over 20 years ago, she decided to go to his place and talk things out. Here is another problem. If anything, Nemo should be sad because of the passing of his late wife. But instead he is holding grudges against his ex because of something that happened over 20-something years ago. Nemo, what does that make your wife? A fucking joke? Anyway, they met again after all the years, and she said this to him.
ပြောမပေးလိုက်ပါနော်ဆရာနော်
But he was like, nah, I'm still mad. Although you're not responsible for my wife's death. Now fuck off. And Kikintao was like, I'm so done with your shit. I'm a bounce.
မြတ်ခဲ့အမေဆုံးတဲ့နေ့ကအကြောင်းနေထားကိုပြောပြဖို့ကိုကြီးငါ့ကိုလာပြောပေမဲ့ငါတို့ဘက်ကတစ်ချက်ကနှစ်ချက်အဖြစ်မခံနိုင်တော့ဘူးဒါကြောင့်ထားကိုမပြောခဲ့ဘူး
Alright, first off, how is it embarrassing to tell someone that someone else's mom passed away? Also, she found that out by herself on the wedding night.
အဲ့ဒီလိုခင်ခင်ထားမသိလိုက်လို့မင်္ဂလာပွဲကိုတစ်ချင်းခေါ်ဆိုခိုင်းတဲ့ကိစ္စနဲ့ပတ်သက်ပြီးရင်းမောင်ကခင်ခင်ထားအပေါ်မှာစိတ်နာနေတာပေါ့ကိုလာမောင်ရ
So you knew, but you didn't tell him? Why though?
ရင်းမောင်ကတော့မပြောလိုက်နဲ့နော်ဒီကောင်အကြောင်းကအတီးဆုံး
Again, why? He already knew that the kids were Kinkinta's children. Also, has it ever occurred to you that maybe letting them both know about what really happened would somehow relieve a bit of the trauma that they have experienced over the years? At this point, it almost feels like the writers didn't remember what they wrote and they didn't bother checking when they finished the story. Then the gin happened. There was a lot of dancing, a lot of singing, dancing and singing, singing and dancing.
အကျိုးဖွင့်မှတွေ့တဲ့မန်းလူတွေထဲမှာတော့မန်းတွေကအလှဆုံးပဲမှာအဲ့တော့ဒီကိုလာကြိုနှက်သွားပြီသိလား
I'm so done with this statutory character. I don't know if it was hip back in the days to act like a pussy, but in every scene that he is in, he is acting like a fucking beta. Or maybe he's just a cock. Second day came, more dancing, more singing. But at the very least, I'm glad Zowen didn't sing Mandawiku in this film. I read an article somewhere that he single-handedly butchered the lyrics of that track. I fact-checked and I wholeheartedly agree. Now this is what I'm talking about. This is how the original lyrics go. And this is what Zowen did. And this is the worst part.
Nigga, what the fuck is... I want some
Original lyrics.
baby.
And since then, every other the Jam mogul has been following his footsteps and singing the lyrics wrong.
What the fuck is...
Original lyrics. But all is not lost. You, sir, have earned my respect for that alone. But then there is this.
No! God, please, no! No! No!
Now you might be thinking, wait, that was very decent of you to trash on a deceased person. Trust me, I meant no disrespect, and credit where credit is due. And he was known as the Gemina for a reason. I did what I did to preserve the originality and the value of a classic. With that being said, let's get back to talking about the film. Second day morning passed. Then came the night. Then came what is supposed to be the third day, but Zowen said it's the last day of Dinja, whatever.
ဒီနေ့တကြံတက်နေမလို့မမေကိုကြွားကြည့်လောင်းတော့မယ်နော်ကဲလောင်းပြီရညကြမှာပြောတာရှိတဲ့စကားတွေကိုလည်းသွားကြည့်ပြောတာမမှန်ဘူး
Said that way is sad, but I don't really feel bad for him. Oh, and by the way, I did my research and it is said that the good people of Mandalay helped produce this movie and they did not accept any cost. They only wanted to show the city's culture and the historical places, which is nice. Out of frustration, he tried to resort to liquor, just like his father did, and they had a little back and forth. So the son left, and then Golak came, and Neymar was like, maybe let him go. Then came the last night of the New Year event, and there was more singing and dancing. I swear to God, this guy probably pees sitting down. It's a shame that the writers decided to write him off that way. Man the fuck up, for Pete's sake. So finally, Datui is on the stage. This shot wasn't necessary. Then let's sneak the book to this secondary character. This shot is getting redundant. Then the girl was like, oh, look at it, and she was like, I don't want it. And Zoan was like, fucking give it to her. So she undid the wraps, and she gave the book to Manuel, and it was actually Diary of Datui. Then Gola was like, haha, you just got pranked.
Pranked, baby! Yeah!
Probably this film gave viewers the notion that it is cool to pull off a prank like that at the cost of someone else's discomfort. Kinda reminds me of this cunt who pranked on the civil servants. So the film ends with Neymar coming over to watch the kids perform, and Kikinta spotting him. I ship him. Now that we've talked about the plot, let's talk about the acting. First off, let me begin with the Neymar and Kikinta duo. I think they are the bread and butter of this entire film. Neymar did an outstanding job portraying Neymar and his shift of character from a young double man into an old, drunk alcoholic. Every scene he was in is a treat. On the other hand, Kintanu's acting as Kikinta was very believable. The crazy in love face, the vengeful face, the mature MILF face, they were all realistic and very good. Now the same cannot be said for the trio, Zoan, Mitanu, and Zinwai. By any means am I saying that their acting was bad or that they can't act. It is just that the writing was kind of boring and they didn't really have a moment to shine, like the former duo. We've had the good, the meh, not the bad. Have a look at this. Really, is that how you assist in giving birth? You hunch over and sit on the side of the pregnant lady? This is even worse. Now I understand that I might just be nitpicking at this point, but that was very off-putting to watch. And that was just one of many examples. Also, the timeline of this film doesn't make sense. Earlier in this video I said they might be in their teenage years, presumably. Well, the issue is the film says it began in 1957 and then it skips all the way to 1985. So that's 28 years, not 20, and that's a problem. You see, college kids in freshman year are usually around 16 to 20. Assuming that Kikinta and Neymar didn't date for too long and there was no evidence to prove otherwise, it is safe to say that they got married before the 60s. So are the kids 25 years old? Are they all at the same age? Isn't Datui supposed to be younger than Manuel? The film doesn't provide any sort of proper explanation for that.
If you've ever watched
Dinjamo,
I'm sure at some point the thought popped in your head, hey, this video doesn't need to be
2 hours,
long. This video could have been
an hour and a half.
long. What gives? What gives is that he has this horrible editing practice where he
Plays every track from start to finish. Seriously, the opening scene alone was like 10 minutes long. It was kinda cool to listen to the full track for the first time, but then it got jarring and then it got annoying. Not only that, they chose to play the same song over and over and over. So in this scene, he is trying to compose the song Nugubia, and the background music was playing the published version of it. Then he is seen trying to come up with the melody for that track. The music arrangement is quite messy and it is all over the place. Here we witness the cringiest part. Really, this is humor back in the 80s because it failed to deliver. This is comedy gold. So anyway, Datui handed her the song that he composed, and she read it for like a split second, and then she was like, "Oh, this is Fuego. Now write me another one." At times, the film is so disconnected from the reality, it is so painful to watch. Third time playing the same song. This is the fourth time. Oh, the torture. Now if you look closely, you'll see that there were 4 claps in the song and they clapped 5 times in the dance. I don't know about you, but I don't think he's really playing the piano. Yeah, play that shit, fam. I mean, there is clearly piano in the song, but he ain't playing, and there wasn't another piano player in the band, so what's going on? Wait, Zoan is singing, but there is vocal in the song, so who's fucking singing? So the whole thing is just a facade? He ain't playing piano, and he ain't singing. Although the audio editing wasn't my cup of tea, there were 3 particular scenes which I really enjoyed. The first one is this. Oh, and I forgot to mention, the background music was really good. That was beautiful. The Western style mixed into this traditional Burmese music, and it was done masterfully. Then this. Undoubtedly, Kim Ah-won is my favorite character of this film. He was so charismatic, energetic, and he handled criticism like a champ. And lastly, this. So in my opinion, the great acting along with an okay plot made this movie a fun experience to watch, but the crammed and repeated use of soundtracks ruined it for me. I'm gonna give the demo a 4 out of 10. But on the other hand, the poster arts though, my god are they good. I give it 11 out of 10. But hey, that is just me, and at the end of the day, nothing should stop you from enjoying the movies that you like. Anyway, this is it for this video. If you made it this far, thank you for watching, and Happy Myanmar New Year to you all. Stay home and stay safe.